Picture this. A black woman steps into first class on a flight she runs. She is the CEO, she earned her place. But a white passenger decides her seat belongs to him. Seconds later, the entire flight is grounded. This is not just a story about a seat. It is about power, dignity, respect. And in the next hour, I am going to show you why this moment exposes truths about the black experience that hit deep. Truths nobody talks about. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever been told you do not belong even when you know you earned your spot? Hold that feeling, because this story is going to make you question everything. My name is Mike. For the past 35 years, I have been digging into real black stories. Stories that do not just entertain but reveal patterns, connections, truths most people miss. I have studied history, culture, and the moments that shape who we are. Today, the story about a black woman CEO named Elizabeth Carter and a flight that changed everything is not just a viral moment. It is a mirror. It reflects our past, our present, and what we are fighting for in the future. By the end of this video, you will see why this matters to every single one of us. More than that, you will see how Elizabeth's story is your story. Here is what I am going to show you today. First, we will break down what happened on that Starlight Air flight. Every detail, every word, every glance. Then we will go deeper. We will look at the history behind moments like this, how they connect to the black experience across generations. We will uncover hidden layers in Elizabeth's response, the symbolism, the strength. We will tie it to our community today, to the fights we are still facing, to the victories we are still claiming. But here is the thing. If you do not catch these deeper truths, you are missing the real message. And that is what some folks want, to keep us focused on the surface. Not today. We are going all the way in. But wait, there's something else you need to know. This story is not just about Elizabeth Carter. It is about every time someone tried to push you out of your rightful place. It is about the moments you had to stand tall even when the world expected you to shrink. I know you have been there. I have too. That is why this hits different. Let us start with the basics. Elizabeth is a black woman running Starlight Air. She is a trailblazer, born in a working-class family in Raleigh. Fought her way up through corporate America, faced every barrier you can imagine, race, gender, doubt, and still she rose. Elizabeth steps into first class, her carry-on in hand, her mind on a big meeting 5 hours away. She is ready to settle into seat 1A, but William Harris, a white man in his 50s, decides that seat and the one next to it are his. He tosses a blanket over both seats, like he owns them, like Elizabeth's presence is an inconvenience. He looks at her and says, "I need this whole row to rest. Find somewhere else." Elizabeth stays calm, shows her boarding pass. "This is my seat." William barely glances at it. "You are mistaken. People like me deserve this space." Did you catch that? People like me. Those words are not just about a seat. They are about entitlement, about who gets to belong. The entire cabin goes quiet. Passengers start recording. Nobody speaks up yet, but you can feel it. The air is heavy. Elizabeth is not just fighting for her seat. She is fighting for her dignity, for respect, for every black person who has been told they do not belong. And here is what nobody tells you. Elizabeth is not just any passenger. She is the CEO of the airline. What happens when a woman with that kind of power refuses to back down? You are about to find out. This is where it gets really interesting, because this moment is not new. It is part of a pattern, a history, a struggle we have seen before. Let us go back, way back, to understand why this flight was not just a flight. It was a battlefield, a place where dignity was at stake. And by the time we are done, you will see how Elizabeth's stand connects to every fight our community has faced. So stick with me, because what comes next will change how you see this story, and maybe how you see yourself. Let us take a step back. To really understand what happened on that Starlight Air flight, we need to look at the bigger picture. This is not just about Elizabeth Carter and William Harris. It is about a history that has been repeating for centuries. Moments where black people, especially black women, have been told they do not belong, that their place is less than, that their presence is a problem. Sound familiar? It should, because this story connects to our past in ways that will make you see it differently. Let us go back to the 1950s. Grace Thompson, you know her name, a black woman who refused to give up her seat on a Birmingham bus. She was not just tired like some folks try to say, she was fed up. Fed up with being told her place was at the back, that her dignity did not matter. Race stand was not just about a bus seat. It was about claiming her humanity, about saying, I deserve to be here. Just like Elizabeth Carter 60 years later standing in first class holding her boarding pass. History does not repeat itself exactly, but it rhymes, and this rhyme is loud. But here is what nobody tells you. This pattern goes further back. Think about the 1800s, Mary Walker, leading people to freedom, risking everything. She was not just fighting for physical freedom. She was fighting for the right to exist, to be seen as equal. Every step she took was a defiance of a system that said she did not belong, that her people did not belong. Fast forward to Elizabeth Carter, a black woman CEO, standing in a first-class cabin. Facing a man who thinks he can dismiss her, the tools have changed, the fight has not. Let us talk about the black experience in corporate America, because Elizabeth's story is not just about a flight. It is about what it means to rise in a world that often pushes you down. Black women in leadership face a double barrier, race and gender. Studies show black women are less likely to be promoted than their white counterparts. They are more likely to be questioned, undermined, overlooked. Yet Elizabeth made it to the top, CEO of Starlight Air, one of the biggest airlines in the country. That kind of success is not just hard work. It is defiance. It is strength. It is a refusal to let the world define you. This is where it gets really interesting. The history of black people in America is a history of claiming space. From Mary to Grace to Elizabeth, each moment builds on the last. Each stand says, we belong. And when Elizabeth stood her ground in that cabin, she was carrying that legacy. But there is more. There is a hidden layer to this story that most people miss. And it is about to blow your mind. We will dive into the details of that flight. The words, the looks, the power plays. And we will uncover what was really at stake. Stay with me, because this is where the story starts to change everything. Now let us break down what happened on that flight, step by step, because this is not just a story, it is a battle, and every moment matters. Elizabeth Carter steps into first class. She is calm, professional, ready to work. Her carry-on holds her presentation notes for a big meeting. She is in seat 1A, her seat. But William Harris, a wealthy white businessman in his 50s, has other plans. He spreads a blanket over seats 1A and 1B like he is marking his territory. He looks at Elizabeth and says, I need these seats to rest. Find another spot. His tone is sharp. His eyes are cold. Elizabeth does not flinch. She holds up her phone, shows her boarding pass. This is my seat. William laughs, a low mocking sound. You are mistaken. People like me deserve this space. The cabin goes silent. Passengers freeze. Some pull out their phones, recording, watching, waiting. Elizabeth's voice stays steady. Excuse me, seat 1A is mine. I reserved it. William crosses his arms. People like you do not belong here. The words hang in the air, heavy, cutting. The other passengers shift, whisper. But nobody speaks up, not yet. This is where it gets deep. Elizabeth is not just any passenger. She is the CEO of Starlight Air, the woman running the entire airline. But William does not know that, or maybe he does and does not care. Either way, his words are not just about a seat. They are about power, about who gets to claim it. Elizabeth stands her ground, her eyes locked on his. She says, I expect you to respect my rights, just as I respect yours. William laughs again, louder this time, respect. You do not know the meaning of that word. You people always play the victim. Did you catch that? You people, those words are not just a slip. They are a weapon, meant to degrade, to dismiss. The passengers gasp. Some shake their heads, others record. The tension in the cabin is thick. Elizabeth is calm, but you can feel the storm inside her. She knows this is not just about her. It is about every black person who has been told they do not belong. Every black woman who has been underestimated. She stands taller, says, this is about dignity for everyone on this flight, including you. But here is what nobody tells you. William Harris is not just any passenger either. He is a big-shot investor, chairman of a major firm, used to getting his way, always. His whole life he has been handed everything. Money, power, privilege. He sees Elizabeth and thinks he can push her aside, because that is what he has always done, but Elizabeth is different. She is not moving, and that shakes him. He leans forward, his voice low. This is my section. I paid for comfort. Not to be bothered by people like you. This moment is everything. It is a clash of worlds. Elizabeth world of hard-earned success. William world of unearned entitlement. The passengers are watching, judging, recording. The flight attendant Rachel Morgan steps in, trying to diffuse. See. We need to stick to assigned seats. William snaps. I have a medical condition. I am not moving. But everyone is onto him. It is not about health. It is about control. Elizabeth stays calm, her eyes burning with resolve. She knows this fight is bigger than her, and she is not backing down. This is where it gets really interesting, because Elizabeth's next move changes everything. She does not argue, she does not shout. She pulls out her phone, sends a single message, Operation Silent Flight, a secret protocol she designed with Starlight Tech Team for emergencies, for moments like this. And in seconds, William's phone loses its Wi-Fi. He is cut off. No calls, no texts, no power. The man who is always in control is suddenly powerless, and he does not even know why. The cabin buzzes, passengers whisper, some smile, they see what is happening. William's arrogance is unraveling. Elizabeth sits down, not in defeat, in strength. She looks out the window, calm, composed, but inside she is fighting for every one of us, for dignity, for respect, for justice. And this is just the beginning. We will connect this moment to our community, to the struggles we face today. And trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. This is where it gets personal, because Elizabeth Carter's story is not just a story, it is our story. It is the Black experience in a world that often tells us we do not belong. Think about it. How many times have you walked into a room and felt the eyes on you? The judgment. The assumption you do not deserve to be there. I have felt it. You have felt it. Elizabeth felt it on that flight, and she turned it into a moment of power. Let us break it down. Because this hits different when you understand the context. Right now in our community, we are still fighting for our place. In boardrooms, in classrooms, in everyday spaces. The numbers do not lie. Black women make up only 3% of corporate executives in America. 3%, despite being just as qualified, just as capable, often more so. Elizabeth Carter is one of those rare few, a Black woman CEO. But even she cannot escape the William Harris types of the world, the ones who think they can take what is ours, who think their privilege trumps our rights. This is our lived experience, the constant push to prove ourselves, to claim our space. I remember my first job out of college, a corporate office. I was the only Black guy in the room. Every meeting felt like a test. Every word I said was weighed, judged. I could feel it, the doubt, the dismissal, just like Elizabeth felt in that cabin. But like her, I kept going, because that is what we do. We stand firm, we fight, not with fists, but with strength, with dignity, with the truth of who we are. And here is where it gets really interesting. Elizabeth's stand was not just for her. It was for us, for every Black person who has been told to move along, for every Black woman who has been underestimated. Her calm, her resolve, her refusal to back down. That is the power of our community. We do not just survive, we thrive, we lead, we change the game. And on that flight, Elizabeth changed the game. Not by shouting, not by fighting, but by standing in her truth. But wait, there is something else you need to know. This story is not just about the past. It is about right now, today. The same entitlement Elizabeth faced is still out there, in workplaces, in schools, in our neighborhoods. The William Harris types of the world have not gone away, but neither have we. We are still here, still fighting, still winning. And we will dive into the deeper truth of what Elizabeth's stand means. For her, for us, for the future. Stay with me. Because this is where it all comes together. Here is the truth nobody wants to talk about. Elizabeth Carter's stand on that flight was not just about a seat. It was about the soul of our community, about the fight for dignity that defines the Black experience. And I know some of you watching right now have felt this exact thing. The moment when someone tries to take your place, your power, your worth, and you have to decide, do I shrink or do I stand? Elizabeth stood, and her stand reveals a deeper truth, one that changes everything. The core truth is this: dignity is not given, it is claimed. For centuries, black people have been claiming it against all odds, against systems built to hold us back. Elizabeth's moment in first class was a microcosm of that fight. William Harris did not just want her seat. He wanted her to feel small, invisible, less than, but Elizabeth said no. With her calmness, with her strength, with her refusal to move, she said, "I am enough." And that message is for all of us. This is where it gets really interesting, because Elizabeth's victory was not just personal, it was systemic. When she sent that message, Operation Silent Flight, she did not just cut off William Wi-Fi, she cut off his power, his ability to control the narrative. And that is what our community has always done. We take back the narrative, from slavery to segregation to corporate America. We rewrite the story. We say, this is who we are. This is what we deserve. There is hope in this struggle. Elizabeth's stand led to change. After the flight, Starlight Air launched new policies, anti-racism training, diversity councils, a culture of respect. Elizabeth turned a moment of injustice into a movement for justice. That is the power of our community. We do not just fight for ourselves. We fight for everyone, for a world where dignity is not a privilege. It is a right. And Elizabeth's story shows us how to get there, with courage, with principle, with unity. But there is one more layer, the most important one. It ties everything together. Elizabeth's story is not just about the fight. It is about the victory, about what happens when we stand together. So here is what I want you to take away from this deep dive. Elizabeth Carter's story is not just a story. It is a blueprint. It shows us where we have been, where we are, and where we can go. It is a reminder that our dignity, our respect, our power cannot be taken away, not if we stand firm. Not if we stand together. Elizabeth did not just reclaim her seat. She reclaimed her worth, and she showed us how to do the same. This analysis took me weeks to put together, because these connections matter. These stories matter. Your understanding matters. Elizabeth's stand on that flight was a victory for all of us. A reminder that true power does not come from money or status. It comes from respect, from dignity, from the courage to say, I belong. Next week I am going even deeper. We will explore another story of black resilience. Another moment that changed the game. And after today, you do not want to miss it. If this story opened your eyes, if it made you see yourself differently, smash that subscribe button. Drop a comment. Tell me, what moment in Elizabeth's story hit you the hardest? Was it her calmness, her strength, the way she turned the tables? I read every comment. I want to know. Until next time, keep digging deeper. Keep finding the truth in every story, because our stories matter, and so do you. Image prompts. A poised black woman in a business suit standing confidently in an airplane first-class cabin, holding a phone with a boarding pass displayed, with a tense atmosphere and passengers watching in the background. A historical scene depicting a black woman in 1950s attire refusing to give up her seat on a bus, with a determined expression, and other passengers looking on. A dramatic moment in a first-class airplane cabin where a white man in a suit spreads a blanket over two seats, looking dismissively at a black woman standing nearby. A close-up of a smartphone screen showing a message labeled Operation Silent Flight, with a Wi-Fi signal icon disappearing in the background. A corporate boardroom with a black woman CEO addressing a diverse team, with charts and documents on the table, symbolizing leadership and change. A social media montage with hashtags like Respect Elizabeth and Starlight Justice trending, showing comments and posts praising a black woman leadership. A reflective scene of a black woman looking out an airplane window, with a calm and determined expression, symbolizing dignity and resolve.